Imagine spending 25 years dreaming about one impossible car. A car so rare, so legendary, that you never thought you'd even sit in one, let alone own it. Today, that dream not only came true, it got the Jay Leno test drive. And trust me, nothing prepares you for that moment. 25 years ago, I was 16 years old, standing in my grandmother's driveway, staring at a car that completely changed the direction of my life. A 1985 Mercedes 500 SL. She had bought it brand new. Then one day, she handed me the keys. That was the first spark. The moment that turned into an obsession. And eventually, into a YouTube channel. Back then, I used to flip through car magazines until the pages were practically transparent. And every time I saw a Mercedes 300 SL Gullwing, those impossible doors, that alien-like silhouette, my heart stopped. It felt like something built by another civilization entirely. I remember walking into the old Mercedes Classic Center in Irvine 20 years ago, long before YouTube was a career, long before I knew anything, and there it was, a Gullwing. Perfect. Untouchable. Out of reach. I drooled over it like a starved animal. But never did I imagine that one day my own Gullwing would be sitting in their workshop with my name on the paperwork. Fast forward to a few months ago, I found a 300 SL Gullwing that had been sitting untouched for over a decade. Dusty, forgotten, asleep. It was rough but not hopeless. Actually, it was cleaner cosmetically than I expected. I was bracing for a total disaster, but instead, it looked a bit like one of those mythical barn finds you hear about but never see. You know, cars that somehow survive time because fate decides they should. But make no mistake, this Gullwing needed major rescuing. Fuel system? Dead. Brakes? Barely functional. Cooling system? Leaking like a sieve. Oil system? Exploded during a rally, coating the entire underside of the car like a deep-fried mess. And yes, I made it way worse, because during the 1,000-mile shakedown rally, after sorting the fuel system and brakes, I, like a certified automotive genius, forgot the parking brake on. For 20 straight miles, I smelled something burning and thought, oh, must be leftover oil from the cooler leak. No, it was the brakes melting. I cooked them so badly that the wheels themselves had their paint liquefied. Mechanically, disaster. Emotionally, devastating. I limped back to the Classic Center with my shame dragging behind me like a tailpipe. And that's where our hero of the story comes in, Nate, the shop manager. This man pulled an all-nighter. He literally slept inside the upholstery shop wrapped in Mercedes-Benz pattern blankets like a dealership-themed burrito, just so the car would be ready when I flew in. When I walked in, he was half awake, half delirious, and all business. Your car's done, he said, and that moment after everything felt unreal. Under the hood, the engine looked brand new. Not replaced, just cleaned with what I'm convinced must have been holy water. They power-washed everything top to bottom. The cooling system? 3 cracks in the water tank solder joints. A cracked oil cooler. Radiator clogged. Bent aluminum water pipes corroded into powder. One pipe looked like a prop from a crime show. This long, chalky aluminum tube that Nate joked looked like an expensive crack pipe. Brake drums? Ruined. Brand new drums, less than 1,000 miles old. Overheated to the point the metal hardened so much their cutting tools started chattering. Brake shoes? Cracked in half from heat trauma. Fuel system? Misfiring at high RPM. Points and condenser replaced. Distributor reset. And Nate even tried to upsell me a Sport Cam and K4 Governor for 40 more horsepower. But considering the financial scarring I had just endured, he might as well have offered me a moon landing. But after all that chaos, the car was finally alive. Better than ever. Ready for the next chapter. And the first stop? The most intimidating place any car guy can take a newly restored Gullwing. Jay Leno's garage. California highways are the ultimate trial by fire. If something's going to break, it'll break there. But the moment I pulled onto the highway, the car felt perfect. Pulling strong. Shifting beautifully. Steering tight. No more fuel cutouts. No more cooling issues. For the first time since buying it, I wasn't nervous. I was ecstatic. The plan was simple. Drive through the Hollywood Hills because why wouldn't you? and roll right into Burbank. The closer I got to Jay's shop, the more surreal it felt. Because if you're a car nerd with a YouTube channel, Jay Leno isn't just a celebrity. He's the North Star, the blueprint, the dream. When I pulled in, Jay stepped outside and said, "You got a Gullwing? That's great." 16-year-old me basically evaporated on the spot. Then he said, "Let's take a look, and then, let's take it for a spin." Nothing prepares you for watching Jay Leno drive your dream car. He walked around it like a human automotive encyclopedia. He spotted details instantly, the refinished underbody, the new linkages, the cooling work, the overall condition. He even joked he wished he'd found this car first. Then came the moment. I handed him the keys. He climbed in. I buckled up. He pressed the starter. The engine came alive. Smooth, confident, almost proud. As we drove, Jay felt everything. Steering response, throttle feel, suspension articulation, gearbox behavior. His verdict? Wonderful. Strong. Tight. Very good. Each word felt like winning an award. And then he said the line I will never forget. "I think you got the deal of the century." From Jay Leno. That's like the Pope telling you you've been doing church right. We talked for almost an hour, Sterling Moss stories, Phil Hill memories, dangerous old race cars, how car culture has changed, and why people used to buy cars simply because they loved them, not because they would appreciate. Jay shook my hand, wished me well, and told me to say hi to Doug DeMuro. That sentence alone feels unreal. Doug and I had planned the perfect moment. His Carrera GT and my Gullwing together at Cars and Bids HQ. But his Carrera GT broke. Again. He swears he takes care of his cars, but irony works overtime in Doug's world. Instead, Crazy Nick rolled up in my old SLR, the one that had a minor electrical event, also known as being on fire. Seeing it again hurt, but Doug did what Doug does. He hyped up the Gullwing like it was the centerpiece of car culture. He said it was cooler than the Carrera GT. Cooler than almost anything. And for the first time, it felt real. My childhood dream car. Restored. Running perfectly. Leno approved. And Doug begging to keep it at HQ until I shipped it home. There was only one thing missing. April. Every place I went. Every moment I wished she was beside me. Kansas had pulled her away for responsibilities, but I felt her absence everywhere. When you love someone deeply, the world becomes a gallery of reminders. Every road, every laugh, every sunset, every reflection in chrome. Dreams feel different when you finally reach them, because you realize dreams aren't about cars. They're about people. And soon, very soon, the Gullwing will be home. In Kansas. With her. And for the first time, it will feel complete. After 25 years, my dream car is real. It's alive. It's here. And this journey from the Classic Center to Jay Leno to Doug DeMuro has been unforgettable. If you enjoyed riding along with me, stick around. There are miles more stories ahead. So hit like, drop a comment and subscribe. Not because YouTube tells you to, but because the next chapter of this Gullwing's life is about to get even crazier. And trust me, you don't want to miss the road ahead.